Welcome back to What You Missed, a video game news show where I discuss articles that occurred within days to a week ago that you may have missed that are important to the video game industry and possibly to you. I thought it would be important to discuss the new Nintendo Switch System Update 3.0.0. It's been released and there are all new features and fixes to a lot of things. So this article comes from IGN. Again, you can quote my source and check it in the description below. If you do not automatically have the system update, don't worry. You can head to System Settings and go to the System Update. And just a word of warning also, I would personally not set it to automatically update because you never know what might end up happening. I've had things happen before in the past where it would automatically update through a thunderstorm and then brick the system because the power went out while it was updating, and things like that occur. It's very rare occurrences, but that does happen, and when you set it to manually, yes, you can't just throw on your system and play it randomly, and it's kind of a pain, but how long does it take to update systems nowadays? 5 to 10 minutes, so it's not that big of a deal. Let's continue on to the details of the update. I'm gonna go ahead and go through the list rather quickly and then discuss some of the important things on the list. So firstly, you can register a channel and receive news for specific games. That's whatever. A lot of people sign on YouTube to get their news or check out IGN or websites, or you subscribe to me to get your news. Thanks. This is What You Missed, so there you go. You can add friends from your Nintendo 3DS and Wii U friends list. That's a really big one, I think. That's important. A lot of people really wanted to do that instead of having to manually re-enter them in. I'm not entirely sure if that doesn't just take what you already have and put it on your Switch or how that works, but apparently you can do that now. You can receive notifications for when your friends go online, whatever. Find paired controllers with communication range by activating the vibration feature. Again, okay, not that big of a deal. Change the user icon order on the home menu. Okay, thank you for that. Select from 6 new Splatoon 2 characters for user icons. I guess some people would be hyped for that. That's not that big of a deal. You can change the system volume from the quick settings. Now that's kind of important because it removes an extra step, but for me personally, I would just rather turn down my TV or use it on the headphones that I have. You can lower the maximum value for headphones or speakers connected to the audio jack. Again, same thing. I would rather do it manually myself than to do it in the software. You can change the display colors to invert colors or grayscale. Now that's important for a lot of colorblind people. I'm fairly certain they already had somewhat colorblind support, but this is even better for people who have certain colorblindness instead of complete colorblindness. You can connect a USB keyboard to the dock to type whenever the keyboard is on the screen. Now that's a big one. Thank you, Nintendo. Thank you, Nintendo. Because whenever there's a massive update for like PlayStation or Xbox One and I have to re-sign in with my username and password on things like Netflix, Hulu, on my account itself for the PlayStation and Xbox, and you have that digital keyboard that appears on the screen and you have to go button by button, man. Oh my lord, is it tedious. I can type really fast. I'm about 70 to 80 words per minute. I'm pretty fluent at typing and I can type a million times quicker than I can just pressing buttons on a controller. So this is a really, really nice option. Now, I would like to say a few things about this though that are kind of technical. If you have a basic Amazon, basic Walmart, a Dell, HP, whatever came with a prefab computer, USB keyboard, you're more than likely going to be able to use it. But if you have an extreme gaming keyboard, like a RGB, a Corsair, a Black Widow, things like that, I doubt very much that those are going to work properly. You might be able to use the keyboard portion, but you probably won't get the lighting, you probably won't get the extra features for it, and you more than likely will never be able to use this on games. But I cannot wait to see what hackers can now do with this with certain games to make them compatible with the keyboard, as long as you're willing to forego those updates for these types of things to be included. So you can also use the Nintendo Switch Pro controller via a wired communication by connecting the USB charging cable. Now that's another big thing, because a lot of people do not like the latency and the lag on a wireless controller. Let me make it clear, the latency and the lag has come miles from the way it used to be. I used to use GameCube Wavebirds, and there was definitely a noticeable difference, but nowadays it's barely noticeable. It's still there, mind you, don't get me wrong. So if you're a professional player or you're seeking to become a professional, you'll definitely want to use that USB wired mode, because that gives you essentially a one-to-one connection. There might be a little bit of latency latency and lag because it's not inherently wired, and depending on the type of controller and how it's produced, but at the very least, this will help a lot more. Now, you can update connected controllers. Not sure if that just goes with the USB charging thing or if they did something else with the connected controllers, but that's a thing. And then there's an added feature that suggests deletion of software data if there is insufficient space when downloading other software. I guess that's okay. You don't necessarily want to delete software that would be important to you. Like if it suggests, hey, you haven't played Splatoon in about a year, would you like to delete it? It's like, no, man, I just, there's a lot of games, dude. Don't do that, please. So there's also been general system stability improvements to enhance the user's experience, resolving an issue that caused game software updates to fail and prevented software from starting. So that's a massively important one. That's very good. This is just minor things in the background that need to be done with every console that comes out. They want to improve the ability for you to actually play your video games. And then the final one is improvements to prevent unintended HDMI input change with certain TVs while the console is docked in sleep mode. Now, this is the most massive change to me next to the controllers and the keyboard, because for me at my house on my TV, I have an HDMI switcher and I have a very nice LG 55-inch TV. So what ends up happening is I'll be playing 360, Xbox One, PS4, or the Wii U even. And the switch will come on and it'll say, do you want to switch to HDMI too? But it's asleep and it's docked, and it'll keep doing this. So eventually I had to unplug it so that it would turn off and I would have to personally power it down. And that got very annoying. So I'm glad that they tried to fix that. If they did fix it, good for them. If they didn't, keep trying, please. I would really appreciate it. So those are the main 3.0 updates. And I think that's really, really, really good that they're updating things like this. Some of the bigger updates here are basically what people can end up doing with that keyboard. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things. I can see a future where you're going to be able to plug in a keyboard and mouse onto your Switch, and you're going to be able to play phone games. You're going to be able to play phone games on your TV. Android, iOS. You're going to be able to play those Pokemon phone games on your TV. And I think you will probably have to jailbreak your Switch in a way. You'll have to mod it, you'll have to hack it, and that means you'll have to avoid those updates, as I said before, because a lot of people did that with their Nintendo 3DSs. Don't forget that. That was a very, very big thing, but then Nintendo would release updates and they would break the consoles. Remember, there is a end user license agreement with your Switch. If you choose to hack the console and you choose to accept those updates, you may end up breaking your console, and they can legally do that to you because you are choosing to get the updates. If you opt out of updates and you force your system to never update and then you hack it, then you have no issues whatsoever. But yeah, one of the biggest complaints I do have about the Switch is the size of the SD cards that you can actually use in them as opposed to the inherent memory on the system, because a lot of people won't expand their Switch's SD capabilities. They won't expand the memory capabilities whatsoever. So they're limited to the internal memory that is able to be used on the system itself. So I think that's really, really, really crappy. And their workaround for this is suggesting what to delete on your Nintendo Switch instead of, hey man, just maybe you could just charge $20 to $30 more and give me double or triple the memory. That would be much, much better. Considering it's a tablet and I want to take it with me everywhere, I don't necessarily want to be carrying around an external hard drive. Maybe that would work. It really would, but it's not convenient. It's not nice. It's not streamlined. It's not modernized, basically. So out of all of the stuff that was updated, I think the absolute useless, most least important things are the ability to change your user icon order in the home menu and the new 6 Splatoon characters from Splatoon 2. Thanks, Nintendo. Really appreciate the hard work you're putting into these updates. But I do think what they have done with the other things are very important, and I do appreciate and give them big ups and props for being able to continuously update their systems and maintain their OSs instead of saying, hey, it's out, sorry, deal with it, get over it, it's a good selling system, we're not gonna mess with it anymore. Unlike some other companies out there. not going to mention any names, but you know there are definitely plenty of OS manufacturers that don't necessarily do things that are the best for the end user. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I thought you guys would enjoy this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's still very important to know what your system is capable of. I've been your host, Protomario. I'm signing out. As always, good gaming. God bless. Make sure to share this with all your friends, and thanks for taking the time out to watch this video.